I didn't think much about my last name when I was younger. It was just something printed on documents, stamped onto forms, attached to headlines I tried not to read. It carried history, expectation, and sometimes noise, but it never felt personal. Not the way it does now. Tonight, the house is quiet in a way that feels earned. The lights in the hallway are dim. There's a mug on the kitchen counter I forgot to rinse. There's a mug on the kitchen counter I forgot to rinse. A notebook open on the desk with half a sentence I'll probably never finish. The hum of distant traffic moves like a slow tide outside the window. This is usually the hour when my mind starts building things. But lately, it's been remembering instead. I used to think love was intensity. I used to think love was intensity. That if something didn't feel electric, immediate, slightly chaotic, it wasn't real. I confused acceleration with depth, motion with meaning. I know better now. The older I get, the more I understand that the moments that matter are almost invisible while they're happening. The way you used to sit across from me at the table, not saying much, just listening. The way you'd tuck your hair behind your ear when you were thinking. The way silence didn't scare you. That's what I remember. Not the arguments, not the distance that eventually grew between us, not even the last conversation. I remember the ordinary evenings, the soft light from a lamp in the corner, the sound of dishes in the sink, the quiet weight of your head against my shoulder, while we both pretended to watch something neither of us cared about. I didn't understand then how rare that kind of ease is. I've built complicated things, systems that required precision, teams that moved like clockwork, problems that looked impossible until they weren't. But I didn't know how to build stillness. You tried to show me, not by asking for more, not by demanding change, just by being present, by sitting beside me without competing with the noise of my mind. I think that's when I started to fall in love with you in a way that felt different. It wasn't the beginning, it wasn't dramatic, it was gradual. It happened the first time I realized I didn't want to leave the room you were in, that I didn't feel the need to check my phone, that the urgency I carry everywhere else didn't apply there. With you, I didn't need to be ahead of anything. I could just be. I didn't know how much that mattered until it was gone. After you left, the house didn't feel emptier in a loud way. It felt quieter in a specific way, as if something subtle had been removed, like a frequency I could no longer hear but somehow still missed, and somehow still missed. I kept expecting the door to open, your keys on the counter, your voice asking a simple question from the other room. It's strange how absence doesn't shout. It settles. I won't pretend I handled everything well. I didn't always listen. I didn't always slow down when I should have. There were nights when I chose work over sitting beside you thinking there would be time later. There is always time later until there isn't. But I don't carry that as punishment anymore. I've learned that regret can be a teacher without becoming a cage. You didn't leave because you were weak, and I didn't lose you because I was incapable of love. We were both learning. I just learned slower. In the quiet months that followed, I started noticing things about myself I had ignored. How I equated responsibility with isolation. How I equated responsibility with isolation. How I believed that carrying everything alone made me stronger. How uncomfortable I was with needing someone, needing you. I told myself that love should fit around ambition, that it should adapt to pressure, that the right person would simply understand. What I never asked was whether I understood you, whether I understood that partnership isn't about admiration. It's about participation. It's about showing up even when there's nothing impressive happening, especially then. There's a photo of us tucked into a book on the shelf. I found it by accident a few weeks ago. We're not dressed up. There's no event. Just a normal afternoon. You're squinting at the sun. I'm looking at you, not the camera. I didn't remember that moment until I saw it. But when I did, something settled inside me. That was the version of myself I liked best. The one who wasn't performing competence. The one who wasn't calculating outcomes. The one who was just there. I think that's when I understood what it really means to share a name with someone. It's not about ownership. It's not about tradition or symbolism. It's about continuity. It's about waking up next to the same person year after year and choosing them in small ways, making coffee the way they like it, reaching for their hand without thinking, arguing and then coming back to the same table to talk it through. It's about building something that doesn't launch, something that doesn't scale, something that simply lasts. For a long time, I wasn't sure I was capable of that kind of staying. I thought my life was too unpredictable, too demanding, too exposed. But the truth is, unpredictability isn't the obstacle. Avoidance is. I used to believe that giving someone my last name meant risking control, risking vulnerability, letting someone close enough to see the cracks. Now I see it differently. It's an offering. Not of perfection, not of certainty, just of presence. I don't want a grand wedding. I don't want spectacle. I don't want applause. I want a quiet morning, a kitchen with sunlight coming through the window, 2 mugs instead of one, a calendar on the wall, with ordinary plans written in pen. I want to sit across from you years from now and recognize the lines on your face because I watched them appear slowly. I want to know your routines, the way you fold laundry, the way you think out loud when you're trying to solve something, the way you fall asleep mid-sentence. These are not traumatic desires, but they feel significant. I've spent most of my life building for the future, designing it, calculating it, trying to make it safer, faster, more sustainable. What I never fully understood is that the future I want isn't abstract. It's domestic. It's quiet. It's shared. If you ever read this, though I doubt you will, I wouldn't ask you to come back. This isn't about undoing what happened. It's about acknowledging that loving you changed me in ways I didn't expect. It slowed me down. It made me notice things I used to overlook. It taught me that strength isn't measured by how much you can carry alone, but by how willing you are to set things down beside someone else. I'm not the same man I was when we first met, not because I achieved more, not because I lost you, but because I finally understood what you were offering. You weren't asking for intensity. You were offering steadiness. You were offering steadiness. You were offering steadiness. And now, for the first time, I feel steady enough to receive it. If there is someone in my future, whether it's you or someone I haven't met yet, she won't be inheriting a name heavy with expectation. She'll be sharing a life that has learned how to pause. She'll be standing beside someone who understands that partnership is not a distraction from purpose. It is part of it. I used to think love had to compete with ambition. Now I know it can anchor it. The house is quieter than it was an hour ago. Even the traffic has thinned. The notebook on my desk is still open. I think I'll leave it that way. There's something calm, ting about unfinished sentences. They don't demand resolution. They just exist, waiting. And for the first time in a long while, I don't feel the need to rush toward the next thing. I'm here. The light is low. The night is steady. And wherever you are, I hope the room you're in feels warm.